Well, to another economy in trouble now, and one that is also having to privatise. Brazil. Less than a month after taking office, Brazil's new president has announced an aggressive plan to lift the economy out of recession. Azhar Sukri has this report.
From the highs of the Olympics to the lows of a political crisis that's driven out a two-term president and the worst recession in nearly a century. The last year has been a rollercoaster ride for Brazil. Its new president, Michel Temer, now plans to sell off concessions to manage major infrastructure projects in the hope of raising billions of dollars.
The basic idea of this partnership and investment program seeks primarily to boost economic growth and, as a natural consequence, to create jobs.
Part of Temer's plan is to sell the rights to operate public roads in central and southern regions to private companies next year. He also plans to sell operating licenses for airports in Porto Alegre, Salvador, Florianopolis and Fortaleza. But he wants to go much further. In a radical shift to the political right, he plans to rein in government spending and Brazil's debts, which climbed to 69% of GDP in June. That's up from 52% in 2011. Rousseff had given Brazilians generous social benefits, which helped millions of poor people, but drained the government's finances. Temer's move is politically risky. Brazilians have already endured 2 years of recession, inflation, and lost jobs. But there are some glimmers of hope. Business confidence, stock prices, and the currency have all strengthened this year. The big question for Temer and his government now is whether ordinary people will feel the benefits of the changes he's put in place. Azhar Sukri, TRT World.
Well, for more on this, Armando Castelar joins me now live from Rio de Janeiro. He's a professor of economics at the Federal University of Rio de Janeiro. Armando, if I could start with some of Temer's promises to revive the economy. He's going to be looking at privatization, deregulation and limiting spending. Is this what Brazil needs right now?
Yeah, particularly the limiting spending. Brazil's main problem is a large fiscal crisis, and without that, confidence will not resume.
Look, the limiting of spending and the tackling of these anachronistical pensions, which cost the country a lot of money, are going to have to be fought for through Congress, the constitutional changes. Is this a fight that Temer can win?
Well, I think definitely the cap, in the sense that the cap is a problem, it limits the spending overall, but there's no particular group that is directly affected. So I believe the cap will be approved by end of the year or early next year. Now, the pension reform is a much harder challenge. The government may succeed. It currently has a lot of support in Congress, but I wouldn't be surprised if it sends forward the proposal to Congress, but does not approve it up to the end of 2018 when it ends.
Armando, there seems to be some parallels here with what's happening in Europe. Brazil looking to privatize its way out of debt and austerity measures being brought in. And a lot of economists would say this hasn't helped certain vulnerable economies in Europe. What's your opinion of that?
Well, I mean, there are certainly similarities. There's a great risk that if nothing changed, pensioners will find that the government has no money to pay them when they retire. So I think this is very similar to what happened in Greece. Now, the overall macro situation is very different. In Europe, you had low confidence. There was a fiscal problem. There was very little room for monetary policy. In Brazil, you have government spending, which has been increasing by 6% in real terms for over 20 years. And you're going to change that and create room to lower interest rates, which are in real terms now 8.4%. So, I mean, it's changing the mix of macroeconomic policy. This, I think, is very important. There's much more to correct in Brazil than there was in Europe.
And Armando, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but some breaking news from the agencies, and federal prosecutors have brought charges against the former president Lula da Silva with regards to the Petrobras case. Can you tell me if this is going to be a significant setback for Brazil? What is the significance of this?
I think it's very relevant concerning the 2018 elections. Lula is a potential candidate. If he's facing charges and is condemned, he'll not be a candidate, so he can change the politics of 2018 election. That's the next government.
Armando Castelar, thank you very much for joining us live from Rio de Janeiro.